been a challenge for me to figure out a way to get the correct shape of a guitar, a dreadnought in my case, modeled into Fusion, but I think I've come up with a way of doing that here, so let's get into it. When I designed my guitar in Fusion, I really had no way of getting from a set of plans or from a guitar or whatever the exact shape of a dreadnought guitar in there. I have some dimensions. For instance, I have the dimension of how wide is the upper bout. I have a dimension of how wide is the waist. I have the dimension of how wide is the lower bout. I know how long the body is. I can get those dimensions. What I can't get is, well, I also have where is the center of the upper bout. I can measure that off of the plans and get that. And I can measure where is the middle of the waist and where is the middle of the lower bout. But what I can't get is what is the actual radius of all of these curves, because it's not just a matter of circles like I did in one of my sketches I'll show you. It's not just a matter of three curves. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different arcs in here to create this shape. On this one, now this is what I believe to be an accurate dreadnought shape, and I'm going to show you how I got to this. But to show you my prior iterations, I can overlay the sketches on here. This one that I just overlaid on here was done with just 1, 2, 3 arcs, and you can see it's not accurate. There's a big gap. It's actually much wider in this space than it is here. And otherwise, it's not that far off on the upper bout and the waist. It's pretty accurate. But to get here, I had to determine what is the radius of these curves in here. And so to get those radiuses off of a guitar, or off of it's easy to do off the plans. You can simply lay your ruler on there and your square and do what you need to do. But if you don't have plans, you can take it right off of any guitar, and different guitars will be different. This applies to a dreadnought because the shape of the dreadnought allows for a flat portion on the bottom and a flat portion on the top. Some guitars go all the way around, and that would be easy to modify what I've done here to do the same thing. So what we need is the radius, and we don't need the radius of every curve. We really just need every other one. So we're going to start by getting, let's turn off that one. We want the radius of this lower quadrant down here. We want the radius of the waist. What is that curve in there? What's the radius of that curve? And we need the radius of this curve on this upper corner. Then all of the ones in between we can create just by doing a tangent 3-point arc to create those remaining arcs and get to what I believe is a pretty accurate depiction of a dreadnought guitar. So here's how I did it. I grabbed the guitar. This is a guitar that I made by hand and off a set of plans without my CNC and my CAD program. So this is a pretty accurate shape based off of doing the work by hand off of plans. So to get these radiuses, what I did was I took a piece of tracing paper. Can't make that bigger. I wanted to make my picture, and I laid it on the guitar on the radiuses that I wanted. I want this lower quadrant, and I just laid the tracing paper on here, and I just traced the edge of the guitar on there and got that radius. Being careful that I only got the radius of this rounded edge. I did not get it where it transitions anywhere. So just wanted, and it doesn't matter how long of a piece you can get as small as you want. The longer you make it, the more accurate of a measurement you're going to be able to make in a minute. So, you know, I would get as much as I can, but like on the waist, I came up here next and I did the waist. The arc in here is much smaller, so I could only get a 3-inch. So I just, again, I put it in the waist here, and I just traced that arch that's right in the middle of the waist. And then the last one I did was up here on this upper quadrant, and I laid it on here, and again I traced that. And again, that's a tight turn, so again I was only able to get like 3 inches of arc. Once I have those, you need to draw a line that is a chord. So any 2 points on this arc, you're going to draw a line across there, all the way across until it joins on the other side straight with a straight edge. Once you have that, you have to find the center of that line. So what I did was, I on my ruler, I chose a 6-inch line, and I just made that 6-inch line to where it intersected the arc in 2 points. And then I went to 3 inches with center, and I marked a point there, and then I needed a vertical line going up to the top of the arc. Okay, you know, and I used a square to do that. So I put a square on the line and draw a vertical line up. So now I need to measure that line that I drew right there, and I need the measurement of the lower line, which I already had 6 inches. So I measured that, and I got 0.9875, I believe. I'm going to do the same thing on the other two. I put those up here, but you can see they're much smaller arcs. So I used a 3-inch line on the bottom, and then drew my line from 1.5 inch straight up and measured that and measured the other. Now, I took those numbers and I put them into a spreadsheet. So what I've done here is that I took my drawings that I did on my trace paper, and I recreated them in here, basically using that same technique where I drew the chord that I measured. I drew the height, and then I created 3-point arcs on here. This is all just for illustration purposes, but so I took those measurements that I got right here, all of these measurements, and I put them into my spreadsheet under arc height. For the lower bout, I got 0.9375, 0.50 for the upper bout, and for the waist, I got an arc radius of 3.438. Then I put in my chord widths, the widths that I had used to determine that, the 6, the 3, and the 3. And then I've got this calculation in here, which is essentially this calculation, which is the height of the arc divided by 2 plus the width of the chord to the power of 2 divided by 8 times the height of the arc. And that gives me this radius of 5.27, 2.5, 3.44, and then the diameter, I just multiplied that times 2 to get the diameter, just for informational purposes in the spreadsheet. There's an easier way to do that in Fusion, so let me show you how I did that. So here, I'm going to create a new, well, I don't, I'm just going to go up here on top. So once I have those lines, so I know that my bottom chord was 6 inches, so I'm going to draw a 6-inch line in here. 6 inches. Let's get in closer. And I know that my vertical line, I'm going to draw a vertical line from the center of that straight up for the length of my height of my chord, which I know was 0.9375. Okay, so I'm going to make that long. Now that I have those, I'm going to do a 3-point arc now. Intersecting the end of the chord and tying it to the top of that line. And now I had that right there is my radius of my lower bout on my guitar. And so I just if I throw a dimension on here, it's going to tell me what my dimension is. Driven, because it's constrained already. So I got 5.269 or 5.27, which is the same number that I got in my calculation in my spreadsheet. I have this constrained to 2 digits, so you see how I did that? I very easily with those two measurements, I was able to then model the radius and grab the dimension. So once I have that dimension, now I can go use it in here. And then, of course, I did the same thing for the other 2 arcs. So now I've created a 3-point arc. I don't know if I need to delete all of this and show exactly what I did. Maybe I should. So let's go ahead and let's delete the mirror. Okay. So let's delete out the interim ones here too. Up here, here, and here. So what I've done is I've created 3 arcs in here. The lower bout one that I just did, and I tied that to my construction line that I have dimensioned to the center of the lower bout, and I radiused that at the radius that I calculated. And then I constrained it to my lower bout width with a tangency, okay, and a tangency on the bottom as well down to that bottom construction line in order to tie that in. And then I created an arc here. Its only constraint is going to be to, with a tangency, I constrained it to the waist width construction line here. Make sure that the 2 endpoints of this arc are not constrained. They'll need to be free when we add the arcs in between these other arcs and make them tangent. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to create another 3-point arc here. Once I have those in, and I'm going to take it off of the end of this to over here, and I'm going to pop it in there and let it do a tangency. So it's going to do the tangency here. It didn't do it down here, so I'm going to go grab this and make it do it down here and make that tangent. So now I have that lower bout. So I got ahead of myself a little bit there, and I forgot to cover this upper arch. So just splicing this in here to cover that before we cover that next arch in here. So the upper one, our radius was 250 off of our spreadsheet or off of our calculation we did in Fusion, and we want to make it coincident to our construction line that represents the center of our upper bout. And then we'll draw that circle or 3-point arc, however we want to do it. It's going to be coincident to the construction line here and the intersection of our upper bout width and our upper bout, the middle of our upper bout right here, and then set it to that radius that's equal to our upper bout radius. We want to make sure that this, and it'd be pretty hard to do anything else, but we want this to be floating. We don't want it to be constrained to anything. Again, we're going to put another arch up here, and we need that to be free floating when we put the tangency on here, and it'll self-adjust to create a tangent arc into this point up here. So now back to our regular scheduling programming. Then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to create another 3-point arc. I'm going to come off of the end of this line, and where I put this, like here, this is now locked in because of that tangency. This one's not. So this is floating out here. So let's go ahead and put a 3-point arc here. Let's go off of here to here, and I'm gonna do this. See how I'm putting that there, and it's putting that tangency up on the top. So we got that tangent. We're gonna grab a tangency constraint, and we're gonna grab this and put it on here. It's gonna make that tangent. Okay, and you see it moved that point so to where I wanted it. Okay. Then we need one more up here to tie this in. We want to continue this curve into that straight line. So I didn't explain that I do have flat lines on the top and the bottom where my heel connects. So I want it flat across there so I get a clean thing. So rather than this curve going all the way into the point, I'm taking it to the end of that line the same way I did down here. So I'm going to create one last 3-point arc. And I'm going to go from here to here. I'm going to get it, click it up here to where it goes tangent up on top. Don't know if it's going to let me put it in. Yeah, it did. Okay, so now it's tangent all the way. So now I have a tangent curve here. And I believe that this, because of those calculations, now represents the true shape of a dreadnought versus these others that I had that were maybe just a little bit too pear-shaped. And of course I just mirror this across just like I did before. So let's create a mirror. Grab all those arcs and mirror it across my center line, and there we go. So I turn off a few things here so we can see even the construction geometries. So that's how I got what I feel is an accurate shape for my dreadnought guitar, and I believe this same approach, maybe with a couple of tweaks, will work on pretty much any guitar shape. If you get those radiuses and then create tangent 3-point arcs between them, I think you'll come up with a pretty accurate shape for your guitar. So hope this helps somebody. Take care. I'll see you down the road. That wraps that up. I hope this is helpful. If you're enjoying these videos, I'd sure appreciate a subscribe and the likes and all that stuff. With that, we'll see you on the next one. Take care.